Japanese dragons are diverse legendary creatures in Japanese mythology and folklore. Japanese dragon myths amalgamate native legends with imported stories about dragons from China, Korea and India. The style of the dragon was heavily influenced by the Chinese dragon. Like these other Asian dragons, most Japanese ones are water deities associated with rainfall and bodies of water, and are typically depicted as large, wingless, serpentine creatures with clawed feet. The modern Japanese language has numerous dragon words, including indigenous tatsu from Old Japanese tatu, Sino-Japanese uraga from Chinese long, naga from Sanskrit naga, and dragon from English dragon. Indigenous Japanese dragons. The California, 680 AD Kojiki and the California, 720 AD Nihongi Mido histories have the first Japanese textual references to dragons. In the oldest annals, the dragons are mentioned in various ways, explains Devisa, but mostly as water gods. Serpent, a dragon shape. The Kojiki and Nihongi mention several ancient dragons. Yamato no Orochi, eight-branched giant snake, was an eight-headed and eight-tailed dragon slain by the god of wind and sea Susanoo, who discovered the Kusanagi no Tsurugi in one of its tails. Watatsumi, sea god, or Eugene, dragon god, was the ruler of seas and oceans, and described as a dragon capable of changing into human form. He lived in the undersea Ragujo dragon palace castle, where he kept the magical tide jewels. Toyotama Hime, luminous pearl princess, was Eugene's daughter. She purportedly was an ancestress of Emperor Jimmu, Japan's legendary first emperor. Wani was a sea monster that is translated as both shark and crocodile. Kumawani, bear, shark, crocodile, are mentioned in two ancient legends. One says the sea god Koto Shironushi no Kami transformed into an 8-fathom Kumawani and fathered Toyotama Hime. The other says a Kumawani piloted the ships of Emperor Shui and his empress Jingu. Mizuchiya was a river dragon and water deity. The Nihongi records legendary Emperor Nintoku offering human sacrifices to Mizuchi, angered by his river engineering projects. These myths about Emperor Jimmu descending from Toyotama Hime evidence the folklore that Japanese emperors are descendants of dragons. Compare the ancient Chinese tradition of dragons symbolizing the Emperor of China. Dragons in later Japanese folklore were influenced by Chinese and Indian myths. Hime, purity princess, was a tea-house waitress who fell in love with a young Buddhist priest. After he spurned her, she studied magic, transformed into a dragon, and killed him. Nyo-Onna, wet woman, was a dragon with a woman's head and a snake's body. She was typically seen while washing her hair on a riverbank and would sometimes kill humans when angered. Zenyo-Uo, goodness-like dragon king, was a rain god depicted either as a dragon with a snake on its head or as a human with a snake's tail. In the fairy tale, My Lord Bag of Rice, the Uo, dragon king of Lake Biwa, asks the hero Tawara Toda to kill a giant centipede. Urashima Taro rescued a turtle which took him to Ryagujo and turned into the attractive daughter of the ocean god Eugene. Inari, the god of fertility and agriculture, was sometimes depicted as a dragon or snake instead of a fox. Chinese-Japanese dragons. Chinese dragon mythology is central to Japanese dragons. Japanese words for dragon are written with kanji. Chinese characters, either simplified shinjitai or traditional kyujitai from Chinese long. These kanji can be read tatsu in native Japanese kanyomi and urayo in Sino-Japanese onyomi. Many Japanese dragon names are loanwords from Chinese. For instance, the Japanese counterparts of the astrological four symbols are Seiyu and LT, King Long, Azure Dragon, Susaku and LT, Duke Vermilion Bird. Byako and LT, Baihu, white tiger, Genbu and LT, Shanwu, black tortoise. Japanese Shoryu, 4 dragon are the legendary Chinese Longwang dragon kings who rule the 4 seas. Goko and LT, Aoguang, dragon king of the East Sea. Gokun and LT, Aoguin, dragon king of the South Sea. Gorjun and LT, Aorun, dragon king of the West Sea. Gorjun and LT, Aocean, dragon king of the North Sea. Some authors differentiate Japanese Yu and Chinese long dragons by the number of claws on the feet. In Japan, writes Gould, it is invariably figured as possessing 3 claws, whereas in China it has 4 or 5, according as it is an ordinary or an imperial emblem. During World War II, the Japanese military named many armaments after Chinese dragons. The Koryu and LT, Jiaolong, flood dragon, was a midget submarine, and the Shinyu and LT, Shenlong, spirit dragon, was a rocket kamikaze aircraft. An Imperial Japanese Army division, the 56th Division, was codenamed the Dragon Division. Coincidentally, the Dragon Division was annihilated in the Chinese town of Longling, whose name means Dragon's Tomb. Indo-Japanese dragons. When Buddhist monks from other parts of Asia brought the faith to Japan, they transmitted dragon and snake legends from Buddhist and Hindu mythology. The most notable examples of the Naga or Naga, rain deity protector of Buddhism, and the Nagaraja or Nagaraja, snake king, dragon king. Devisa notes that many Japanese Naga legends have Chinese features. This is quite clear, for it was via China that all the Indian tales came to Japan. Moreover, many originally Japanese dragons, to which Chinese legends were applied, were afterwards identified with Naga, so that a blending of ideas was the result. For instance, the undersea palace where Naga kings supposedly live is called Japanese Ryagu, Dragon Palace, from Chinese Longgong. Compare Ryagujo, Dragon Palace Castle, which was the sea god Eugene's undersea residence. Japanese legends about the sea god's tide jewels, which controlled the ebb and flow of tides, have parallels in Indian legends about the Nagas and Nyoiju, Sintamani, wish-fulfilling jewels. Some additional examples of Buddhistic Japanese dragons are Hakidai-Uo, 8 great Naga kings have assembled to hear the Buddha expound on the Lotus Sutra, and are a common artistic motif. Mukalinda was the Naga king who protected the Buddha when he achieved bodhi, and is frequently represented as a giant cobra. Benzetan is the Japanese name of the goddess Saraswati, who killed a 3-headed Vritra serpent, a dragon, in the Rig Veda. According to the Enoshima Engi, Benzetan created Enoshima Island in 552 CE in order to thwart a 5-headed dragon that had been harassing people. Kozuryu, 9-headed dragon, deriving from the multi-headed Naga king or Shesha, is worshipped at Tokitarō Shrine in Nagano Prefecture. Dragon temples. Dragon lore is traditionally associated with Buddhist temples. Myths about dragons living in ponds and lakes near temples are widespread. Devisa lists accounts for Shiten-Oji in Ōsaka, Gojen Temple in Hakone Peak in Nagawa, and the shrine on Mount Haku where the Genpei Hozuki records that his Zen priests saw a 9-headed dragon transform into the goddess Kannon. In the present day, the Lake Psycho Dragon Shrine at Fuji Yoshida, Yamanashi has an annual festival and fireworks show. Temple names, like Japanese toponyms, frequently involve dragons. For instance, the Rinzai sect has Tenyuji, Heavenly Dragon Temple, Utakuji, Dragon Swamp Temple, Ryoanji, Dragon Peace Temple. According to legend, when the Hokoji or Asakadera Buddhist temple was dedicated at Nara in 596, a purple cloud descended from the sky and covered the pagoda as well as the Buddha hall. Then the cloud became 5-colored and assumed the shape of a dragon or phoenix. The Kinyu no Mai Golden Dragon Dance is an annual Japanese dragon dance performed at Sensoji, a Buddhist temple in Asakusa. The dragon dances twist and turn within the temple grounds and outside on the streets. According to legend, the Senso temple was founded in 628 after two fishermen found a gold statuette of Kannon in the Sumida River, at which time golden dragons purportedly ascended into heaven. The Golden Dragon Dance was produced to celebrate the reconstruction of the main hall of the temple in 1958 and is performed twice yearly. Images. Dragon shrines. Japanese dragons are associated with Shinto shrines as well as Buddhist temples. Itsukushima Shrine on Miyajima or Itsukushima Island in Japan's inland sea was believed to be the abode of the sea god Yujin's daughter. According to the Gakunsho and the Tale of Haika, the sea dragon empowered Emperor Antoku to ascend the throne because his father Tera no Kiyomori offered prayers at Itsukushima and declared it his ancestral shrine. When Antoku drowned himself after being defeated in the 1185 Battle of Dan no Ura, he lost the imperial Kusanagi sword back into the sea. In another version, divers found the sword, and it is said to be preserved at Atsuta Shrine. The Great Earthquake of 1185 was attributed to vengeful Haika spirits, specifically the dragon powers of Antoku. Yujin Shinko, dragon god faith, is a form of Shinto religious belief that worships dragons as water kami. It is connected with agricultural rituals, rain prayers, and the successive fishermen. Dragons in modern Japanese culture. The Imperial Japanese Army Air Force gave some of their aircraft dragon-related names. For example, the Kawasaki Ki-45 twin-engine fighter was called Toyu, the Mitsubishi Ki-67 bomber was called Hiryu, and the Nakajima Ki-49 bomber was called Donyu. The Imperial Japanese Navy and later the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force named some of the ships after dragons. Notable examples of the World War II-era aircraft carriers Hiryu and Soryu and the modern submarines of the Soryu class. The dragon is a popular figure in Yakuza tattoos. Other Asian dragons. Chinese dragon, Druk. Korean dragon, Naga. Vietnamese dragon,